Does it work? Yes, it works.
Right.
Wait, if I go here. Sorry,
yeah.
Maybe there are a few questions also from me. Do you have any questions on the production or something else that I talked about, I'll be happy to answer them. Not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it in the end or no?
Okay, if you have questions for Elizabeth, probably would better ask them before the discussion.
No, you mean?
No, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
You
I
would.
have one question. Do you remember some programs that were like produced from the Baltics or Finland, from this region?
Yes.
Yeah. Have there been some, and are there like normal? Have there been like programs from Baltics and Finland? And what were they about? Like what's their main
yes,
subjects?
If you ask the question, yeah. I can answer immediately that we are very well aware of the fact that here's a big and large and very good cinema traditions in the Baltic countries. We know that. Yeah. So of course we have had some films, especially, but I can't remember any title right now, but made here and broadcasted here and maybe also co-produced from here, especially in a time slot called La Lucarne, which means the little window up in the roof, which gives you light from elsewhere. And those films in the famous editorial guidelines have a strong author signature, and they could be about any subject. We buy, and we can also pre-buy these films. So the answer is yes, but I'm sorry I have no title in, except Arunas Bartas, and you know, okay? Jonas Mekas, but he's more living in the States.
Any other questions? No, I guess.
No? Okay.
No, probably informal part. Okay, now we're having a discussion, so I invite... no, don't go, please don't run away. I invite the three speakers, Elizabeth, Claire, and Uldis, in front of us. I guess we have only one microphone. Yeah, we just go on without the pause. Okay, we have. And I'll ask Uldis to be the first speaker and to give a kind of Latvian producer's view on the subject, because Uldis has created one of the most important independent producer companies in Latvia, Vidas Filmu Studija, and with the focus on man and nature stories. And he has worked on more than 20 documentaries, both as a producer and a cameraman. And he has also done multimedia projects, and for 11 years has been producing a weekly half-hour environmental and nature program for Latvian public television. And he has cooperated with production companies and television channels across Europe, including ARTE. And Uldis, please, could you just take a look at what we have heard before and from the Latvian perspective?
Yeah. Thank you. Being here, first I can say that ARTE actually was our first bridge to the international co-productions, because in year 2004 we made the first co-production called Dreamland. I don't know if you remember, because it's also a funny history. It started as a wildlife film, as our background is nature, man and wildlife programs. But we invited to be a director Laila Pakalniņa. She's the most crazy and creative director we had here. And Laila converted the wildlife subject, because the film was shot in dump site, to the grotesque message about the humanity in general. And then we've been really happy that in 2005 it was nominated among 10 best European films for Prize ARTE. But Lithuanians got the prize, so we are still happy because they are our neighbors. But I can say also, to work with you, with ARTE, it's not easy to go through all the slūžas, kā ir vārds, gates.
Didn't I use the word bureaucratic?
No, I don't say bureaucratic, because you have so many gates. You have those program conferences, and then you have commissioning editors, and because we work it always through Germany, and then German system is a little bit different. You need to find a channel, then you need to have a co-producer. I don't know, actually maybe we need to speak more what the students could gain from our discussion, because I think as everybody in the world, also you are hungry for the good and new ideas. And maybe I can continue and ask Carambolage director how you implement the new skills, new talents into your program, what the gates they need to use, because from Latvians, for us, it's really quite a long process. You need to go to those pitching forums, you need to drink a tea or beer with some commissioning editor and explain the much wider context of your film or idea. And then also I note that there is creative side and practical side, which also we cannot eliminate. As example, the film material, bank guarantees and all those things which are heavy for us to provide for you, so that's why we need the German or French partners co-producing. But really, what is the gates for the young talents through your program? How they can enter ARTE and your program?
I can just answer for Carambolage, but Elisabeth will answer for the documentary. For us, there are two kinds of people who want to work with us. People who write text, and they write us a mail, and if they just give us the subject, if it looks like interesting, we say you can try to write, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But the most important part as the graphics, animator, that want to work for us, and we have all the young graphics in France and Germany, in England too, wants to work for Carambolage. And so we always, they send us, comment dire, un DVD and then we try, but the problem is I have to give work to the graphics who are working with me since a long time. It's true, it's difficult for it's difficult because I cannot do more than I need. And it's true that after 10 years, you are some of the graphics, I am responsible for them because they work for us, yes. And it's true. But, you know, the young lady I just saw, the last one, Abendfüllend, I can tell you what she made. She sent me a DVD with an animation, very nice, very, very nice, and why she wanted to work for us. And it was clear after the DVD that she would work for us. She found it the right way. And some of them do things like that because they want, so, but it's a very specific job for animators. I think the question is much more for you, for the author.
So, okay, I will try to answer in a more general and practical way for all the documentary departments in ARTE France. You will find the same in Germany, but you can also write to France if you want to send proposals. You can propose programs to the performing arts documentary department in Paris. It's art films, creative art films of all kinds. It could be a portrait of an artist, it could be a musician, it could be, it's up to you. But please, once more, every time and before doing so, go through the editorial guidelines and check if the subject is not already done. Because this will be a rejection almost certainly if we have treated the subject already in a rather recent time. That's for the performing art. My department, Society and Culture, we have many time slots, and I would advise you to not to try the history programs, sorry, because it's very complicated. But if you have a German co-producer or a French co-producer on a subject you really find interested in history, please do so also, but via this co-production partner. It's easier. But better and maybe easier could be to propose, as the tradition for cinematographic the tradition is very big and ancient here, go to the Lucan time slot. I just spoke about it. Do you know about the Lucan? Yes. It's a very open space for proposals of any kind. But the main thing is that you have to really to sign your style, and you give a point of view, and it could be of on any subject. Here from the north of Europe or from the Pacific Islands. I don't know what. It's just that it is a film, a cinema movie film that goes on TV. And then we have the society slot. I mentioned, by the way, an hour ago that the editorial guideline for the society slots deals only with European subjects. It's 52 minutes films, and you can propose any society subject. But please note that we have done quite a lot about the educational systems in Europe, the health systems in Europe, the fire brigades here and there, and so on. So you could think of something, if you think of something more original, please send it to Anne Charbonnel. It's a colleague of mine, and she's in the she's responsible for the society slots in Paris, and she's in the catalogue, which I showed you in the end, where all the commissioning editors are named with their email address. Did I answer?
Please steal the microphone from Elizabeth.
Okay. But Lalucan is more for established filmmakers, for the big names, or young, very promising talents. And actually, that's what you right said. That's for us also, the producers who already work. We need to study what's going on now on your slots, because I was in some very uncomfortable situations when I proposing the idea in Sunnyside, and they said, "But we made this a year ago." So, and that makes your reputation really down yes. Unless you make a joke or make somehow out of the situation. But that's true.
Also, yeah.
And what I heard also, because many people want to make art programs.
Yes.
But what I learned, contemporary art is alive, but art history, that's better not to touch. Is it still the same?
Art history could go on the découverte and connaissance time slot, which department. It's possible. It's possible also with us. It's possible also with us. But if it's about, let's say, I will be a bit ironic if I can. Yeah. If it's about old churches in Scandinavia somewhere, I mean, this is some kind of old-fashioned TV, you know. It has to be with a commentary on nice images. It's not enough. It's not enough.
No, because we had an example 6 years ago. We made a film about Klucis, about an artist who is Latvian born, but actually he made a propaganda art for the Soviets. And he's a big name also in France, and we tried to get a co-production with ARTE, but we managed another French channel, and that's why ARTE was closed. And the first what we heard, don't pitch this project, no way, it will not go. And we also said it will be reconstructions. And I know many people in TV are very afraid of reconstructions because...
If it's well done, no problem.
Yeah, if it's well done. But if you don't know who we are and how we make it, then you are... And Vera Bonnier, she was that time at SVT.
SVT,
she
yeah.
said us directly, oh, no, never this project for us. But imagine, then in Sunnyside, 5 years later, I just tried to approach her again. And that's another good, I think, lesson. Never think that if you've been refused once, that you cannot go back again.
Of course not.
Because the slots change, the people change, and you change also. And when I was showing her the offline project, and it was just before the final credits have been made, she said, yes, I'm in, because I like the way how you made those bloody reconstructions. So, and that for me was a big school that you never... Because we Latvians sometimes, you know, our mentality is also a little bit strange. We are used to... Kind of apvainoties. Feel not guilty, but feel...
Susceptibility. Feel insulted. Feel insulted.
No.
Feel insulted. That's our, at least in my generation, not maybe for young people. But so you think, oh, you've been refused once, then I will never go back because it's somehow the wall is built. So that I think is the main mistake what producers do. So and that's why I think it's so important to go to you again and use those opportunities. But now we live in this YouTube and Vimeo time, and you also have this big internet platform.
Yes.
And I know young people now making a very stylish video on Canon cameras with great ideas, putting on Vimeo, and if they got this Vimeo stuff pick, then I know many names who are highlighted and got really a very good job in advert agencies or made their life very well. What about this ARTE Creative? Because you said there is a platform. Is it someone checking out what's going on? And
yes, of course. You can't send in anything, but there are people looking at it with the necessary experience to keep the level high up. If you have high level content on any design, art, music, whatever, creative film making, you can put it for free there. They don't pay, or at least not much. So the film or the program must have been produced beforehand. What they are looking at, it's in the title of the website, ARTE Creative. But on any subject. What I would like to add also, when you say we have been refused, I just mentioned the number of proposals we got. It's not easy to say no. Sometimes we have to say no even to very good proposals. And it's believe me, it's rather uncomfortable for the commissioning editors, but so it is. I mean, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough space, and we don't have enough place every year in our budgets and what we are supposed to co-produce. And not. It's 24 hours per day. It's not more. It's not more. But yes, about young talents, you have all made something in your cinema school or privately or by your own. Before, I always ask to see if I'm interested in a subject, an earlier work. I think in the professional position where we are, the commissioning editors, we are used to see programs of any kind, and we at once, I think you agree with me here, can see if there is something special, even if you propose a subject on another theme, you see? So please don't think that we just look at the first page and say, no, this we have done. No, it doesn't work like that. We examine everything carefully.
Of course, everything, I know, I made exactly the same job as Elisabeth before I was commissioning editor too. But of course, there is a problem, you know, because all the high-level production of Europe wants to work with ARTE. And ARTE is the only one that international, not the only one with German TV you can work to. English is some difficult, but the pressure on ARTE is unbelievable. We should have days of 48 hours just to put the programs you would like to buy. And that's why I know, because I was commissioning editor 5 years. You know, it's terrific because, as you said before, Elisabeth, you have 1,600 projects a year, and you can do only 100. And and the 1,500 that's still out there, some are very good. The pressure on artists, there should be more channel like ARTE in Europe. That's the only answer. I know, because you can, I know Elisabeth says right, every project will be examined, looked, but there are so many people everywhere. And maybe, of course, you must say, a project coming from Latvia is not maybe priority in the moment when you work. I don't know, you know, there's so many. Yeah, I know, but the pressure for you, for the producer, for the filmmaker is on us is terrible, and I can understand. I would do exactly the same.
But also today I understood that the trailer is a must. Is it right?
Yes, a trailer for a new proposal is, of course, a must. But have you thought of the many ways in Europe, maybe I'm exaggerating, but there are some ways where you can get what we call in the jargon development money. Do you know that you can get development money from, for example, the European media program? And that could be a lot of money for a documentary project, from 15,000 to 60,000 euros, which is quite a lot. And the media program is open to all European countries, plus some others. Of course, there's a competition there too, but please try this when you have, but make a good production dossier, a good production file, author, director, and producer together, and explain as well as good as you can, with as much details as you can, plus a trailer, of course, because what do we see in a trailer? We see the visual style, which is a very important criteria for us to judge on.
Maybe we could speak a bit. Everybody could tell a few words. How do you see how a local subject could be interesting for the European audience? What does make a local thing European?
This is the most difficult question you could tell. Well, talent, visual style. What's so special about this local village, let's say? Maybe in the subject you have some outstanding characters. An old grandmother, I don't know, who has done incredible things, but mostly, as Claire said, it's all about talent.
And you mean talent of director, right? Who converts this local subject to, in generalizing,
yes,
to metaphor, to something much bigger?
Yes. Let me put it the other way. If it's just a descriptive reportage style 26 minutes program, say, no, it will be no. If I, as a European viewer, can learn something more or see something more or have a cinema experience by a local subject, then it's more interesting, you see?
Yes, you could say a personal point of view from the filmmaker, the point of view, what is your relationship, the special relationship to the thing you want to film. So I think that's one of the most important things, to let the thing being interesting for other people. You have to, je sais pas bien exprimer en anglais, moi, mais...
No, it's exactly the same thing. What's your motivation for doing this? Personal motivation.
Maybe you could talk about your experience. How do you make Latvian subject interesting for outside?
That's not easy. And it's also interesting, we live now in a time for the last, I think, 3 years, when, because I was being taught in early, some 10 years ago, co-production is the only way how to survive. Now it's a little bit different, because now each country tries to support their filmmakers first, because it's a crisis. The TV money is less. And to do a co-productions, to generalize the subjects, also it's not easy. In a way, if you want to try to put something from the Germany in, something from the Finland, which are normal our main partners, or Poland. Now I think what you say, to generalize in a bigger scale, to make some metaphoric expression of your thoughts, and put a strong point of view that even Japanese can understand it. I think that's the model we need to think about, to speak with images, to speak with your position to the subject what you are dealing with. So, but it's also, it demands a kind of genius gene in yourself, and you need to be brave enough to break some rules also. That's maybe another my question to you. How do you appreciate those rule-breaking filmmakers who really coming with something you first think, no, it's crazy, it's impossible, but then actually you realize, yes, that's the little future?
The answer is yes, of course, of course. This Lucan time slot is made for that, you see? So new, absolutely crazy ideas are warmly welcomed in that space. And I also forgot to tell you about the web documentaries. This is another space on the ARTE Galaxy, Internet Galaxy platforms. There you can get co-production money, there is there is even development money, there is a monthly editorial meeting in this, it's a special department in ARTE France, where the people decide, commissioning editors and other internet specialists, where they decide how many and on which subjects. It could be on absolutely any subject. And if you go into the site, you can see programs about Anne Frank in the countries of mangas, which is Anne Frank in Japan, and this seems right not to fit together, doesn't it? Well, it's a very interesting program, so please check that. It's done like a cartoon, where you have stopovers in the middle of the program. It's a web program. It's done specially for the web, and there is no TV version of it. So the web documentaries gives this opportunity to do, while being financed. Of course, the finances are not as high as they are for other time slots in documentary programs, but it's quite enough to make a program and to make it live.
But also understood this you need to see the samples of the works of new authors like they are. So that's why if they make on Vimeo or on ARTE Creative some little piece of work that really could help for them to tunnel faster in, is it right?
It's absolutely a recommendation. Please do so. Because
that's also how we do. We do just for, we have the equipment, and for fun we do some viral videos or we do some small stories. Where young people come and say, this is the idea, I want to make it. And those, I think it worked out that this small idea first proved to us that this young guy is very talented. And another thing, those videos, by viral spreading out in the net, really found the target, which could be somehow financer of your next project. So it's not underestimate your free work which you do in advance. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's very important, but it's not the only thing. When we, Elizabeth told every project has to be sent by post, you know, because it's very important for us when you are commissioning editor to read the project. It means it's very important for you the way how you write the project. When you read the project, you know, you don't know the filmmaker most part of the time. That's when it's very difficult. You don't know, it's a new one. When you write the project, you will be confronted to the very important question for us. How is your, comment on dit statut en anglais? Statue to the film you are going to do. How is your position as a filmmaker? Are you going, if you make a documentary, are we going to hear, there will be some questions, are you going to say the question, are you going to see you? All the question from you, filmmaker, to your subject has to be pensé, reflected, and you can see that, I suppose, Elizabeth, exactly like for me, when you read a topic you don't know about the filmmaker, you don't know about the producer, you don't know anything, but you can feel it. I know how many films from young filmmakers I produced when I was at this, because when I read it, I knew this film had to be done and had to be done by this person for this topic. And it is the way how to convince filmmakers.
I would like to add something more. In France, ARTE France is often said to produce and co-produce always with the same directors and independent producer. It is false, and false. But of course we are spending public money, and I never forget that when choosing a project. We are spending the TV viewers' public money. We have no advertising incomes, as you know. It's not a commercial channel; it's a public channel on both sides, of course. But what was I going to say? How dear, man, you can't. Maybe I will do it.
Same filmmakers.
No. Yes. No, yes. Back to the figures. Thank you. 1/3 of the independent producers, only in my department, are newcomers to artists. The first time we work with them on a subject that they are persuaded us to co-produce, so 1/3, it's not that bad.
But then, okay, then again, practical thing, if they have, some of them have an idea, is it better that they first try to find in Latvia the production company which had experience with ARTE and then they go together, or better they go directly to you and then you together decide will it be the German or French or Latvian or Italian producer?
No, the best way to go is find a Latvian producer. Anyhow, you will need a producer as a director. Then the Latvian producer maybe has already worked abroad from here with other producers in France or in Germany. Then he will choose the way to try to persuade one of them so that they make an international co-production, and then you all come to us. This is the most common way of doing it. Of course, it needs some time and energy, but that's the way how to do it. If you come all by yourself, I will immediately answer, where is your producer? Because we cannot sign, let's say that everything is positive, we cannot sign a contract with an author or with a director. We have to sign with a production company. If you go via a German, and now we'll talk a bit about the financial side, we're all interested in that, aren't we? If you go to a German or a French independent company in France, there is something called CNC, the Centre National du Cinéma, which give public subsidies for huge amounts, we must say, every year. So if you have a French co-producer who has a contract with the channel, and ARTE is not the only channel, there are other public channels, France 2, France 3, France 5, and so on, in France, he can use CNC money for your project together. In Germany, there are other possibilities for the German producers to find public development or co-production money. So that's why we insist on the not coming alone.
And what came to my mind is everybody has friends abroad, and to test the idea, for example, if you're not sure that this is going to go and you can succeed, just find a French friend, send him a proposal first. So,
if possible, in the profession.
Yeah. But what was interesting in your speech also, you mentioned different visual cultures and different viewing habits. That is something you probably need to take into account when you propose something for ARTE. Maybe you could elaborate more on that. What's different about the visual cultures of France and Germany, and what's different among the?
It's a very difficult question. It's more about. Shall I take the discovery example? The traditional discovery program example. A discovery program, travel program, or kitchen program, whatever, goes absolutely internationally everywhere. Everybody understands what it. You show beautiful landscapes, you show old castles, and you show a good restaurant, and you give the recipe of a good meal. This is internationally working. If I would like to touch a more university audience, let's say, I will make a series about European writers. Let's say Irish writers, because we've just done it. How do I proceed with that? First, problems in the program conference. Nobody knows about this Irish writer. And we say, well, so the better then. Let's get to know him. See, we always push our good ideas. We have to. So here's a question where, what do I know about a subject? Do I have to know all about it? Or should the film be done in such a way that it can open up my curiosity to other audiences? That's what ARTE is meant for, you see? It's a very difficult question to answer. No, I don't think I can add anything more. If you have a more precise question,
I could say, just to complete, if you want to make a kitchen or travel or things like that, you have to think, how shall I make it international? But if you want to work for ARTE for a most particular program, the wrong way is to say, oh, now I am going to write a project for ARTE. How shall I write it just to be good for ARTE? No. If you take this kind of recept, we can see that at once. It's written for us, just for us. You can see that at once. We read projects all the time. We know all the... No, you have to really find and show why this project is specific, why we are just spectators. We read that. I said, oh, it would be interesting. Why? I didn't know that. Oh, it's very interesting. And this point of view looks interesting, sensitive, sensible. And so you have to be very personal, and you need to go down in your wish to do that and to explain why.
Yeah, I think it's a very complicated question, because I was just last week in this Ex Oriente in Prague workshop, and there have been many very beautifully shot trailers with Canon camera with this very cinematic view, but you immediately distinguish. If the content fits the image, then it's fine. If the image is beautiful but there is no content at all, then it fails. So I think that you need to feel it. It's really kind of ingredients by food, yeah, salt and pepper and then actually a question to you, because I was surprised 3 years ago in Nyon was a film, People I Am and I Might Be, shot on mobile old Nokia telephone. Maybe you know this filmmaker, or you haven't. It went to many festivals, and I know many channels bought, but I don't know if it was an art. I don't remember the directors.
It's now on the cinema.
Yeah, it's also on cinema, but it's shot on old Nokia, not iPhone. It was amazing, and that's also a kind of inspiration to everybody that feature-length film, Abendfüllender film length, yeah, was shot on just simple Nokia phone. Only, of course, I know the sound, post-production, everything the post was very expensive, but he saw the idea after he shot it with almost no money. And that's, I think, very inspirational, that you can find a way how to do it.
A very original idea with modern technical means.
But also, what he used those his explanations like a little titles, because also graphics nowadays I think is changing from this MTV style that all is 3D, but the graphic, like in your program, it's quite simple, and I think that's advantage of your program, that the graphic really adds to the content, but not makes this.
It's a choice. I don't like 3D, not because it is 3D, but because the people who make 3D, the most part of the time, just want to let the pictures move without any content, you know, and it's really a choice.
But still, now every TV set you can buy in the shop is 3D ready. What about ARTE and your channel? What's about the future where they will come and live in?
Maybe I will disappoint you. Because I think there are fashions and fashions, the mode, as we say in French, technical ones and other ones in the contents. We are slowly going, I'll give you an example. We are slowly going back from the 3D. Of course it exists, of course the images are beautiful, interesting, and it's all new. However, the costs are going up. We don't think that this technical new input is enough to counterbalance an old, the old H2 cameras. Technique is not everything, you see. And we started a series called Sculpture in an art and culture slot, 26 minutes film, and we meant it to be a collection. Showing sculptures, you see a Brancusi or I don't know what, in a 3D beautiful shot. Of course, it's a plus for this film, but it was not. So we were really disappointed. So we are, this is a concrete example. Concrete is beton, so this is a false expression in English, but we went away from this 3D technical.
And also, because that's I felt also from NASA, it been time when some projects been pitched 3D, also documentaries. Now, no single one, because they understood it's too early maybe, and not the right time. And
maybe it's too early, it's too sophisticated, and maybe our viewers are not equipped, and everybody does not have this connected TV yet, and you know, it will take some time.
But then there's another new aspect, this multi-platform or 360-degree concepts. As I feel still, no one can say exactly what does it mean, because some people say you make just a film, but then your multi-platform medium is to advertise it. You put in Facebook, you make some interactivity around it, but don't touch the film, because if you make it multi-platform thing, you will ruin this point of view and your originality. Have you also seen some still unbalance in this?
Multi-platform is a very good question, because this is another mode, another fashion, actually. Still, I go back to the old-fashioned way of talking, where is the content? And of course, you should not cut like a sausage different pieces of your movie in order to put it on this or that internet platform, where you are going quicker and quicker with your and nothing has to take time anymore. I am against that. I think internet is a wonderful thing, but film with the content will always stay films with the content. And what I ask for in my international history series, I'll give you an example that you can see on internet. It's called in English Farewell Comrades. Lebt wohl genossen in German, and in French Adieu camarades. 6 times 52 minutes, made by a Russian movie maker called Andrei Nekrasov, and it's about the fall of the Soviet Empire. So we start in 75, and of course we end up in the perestroika with Gorbachev. These films are based on archives, of course, interviews with people having lived this period, and they are not so old today, in all the European countries. Of course, the most Eastern countries. So that's the content of the TV program. Now, if you go to the website, it's still online, you will see that we made a completely different, about platforms, content on the same subject, but done in quite another way. And this Farewell Comrades content has won several European prizes, the Focal Awards in London, and le Prix Européen, and so on and so on. If you go in, you can see that the concept is based on postcards. Many, in this period, postcards were sent everywhere. Why postcards? I learned that by producing this series. Because there was no censorship made on postcards. So you could see, normally you see a historical monument or a landscape or something, and on the other side you have a message, very simple message, but these postcards always came through. They were never stopped by the censorship. So there was a huge amount of postcards sent between the countries, and we have gathered examples of those, and many of them are on the sites. They are translated. You go around, so you see where they come from. You try to find, we tried to find a person in the family or somebody who knew the person it was addressed to. They speak. Other films are about how people lived on the artistic side, the music, the literature, and so on. So there are many, many witnesses coming together. You have another impression than a historical political film. You say it's the vécu, it's what people have lived that we thought was important. So this is a long answer to your questions. If I agree to co-produce or if I commission a new history series, there will always today be an internet version on the web for that program, but not at all made as an encyclopedia on the subject. Everything that we didn't get into the film, you know, we have to throw a lot, will not be as a wastebasket on the internet. There will be another program on the same subject.
And another question is, what it is so special and interesting about ARTE that makes everybody wants to cooperate, that creates these 16 times more proposals than you actually take? What it is?
What's so special about ARTE?
Mm-hmm. Why does everybody want to be on it?
It's an embarrassing question. I think, without speaking about ourselves or our years and years that we have spent as commissioning editors or directors in ARTE or producers, I think that if you try to be a bit more objective, if you look at the channel and if you look what the offer is, it's, as I said, and you look at the program schedule we saw, you have very good cinema movies, you have very good TV fictions that we buy or co-produce. An example is the Danish series Borgen. I don't know if it has been sent here yet. It's a very good modern TV fiction series. The offer is we have music and performing arts, we have experimental documentaries, we have history documentaries. We have an offer that is really large, I think. Really large. And also very author-oriented and talent-oriented. We are looking for good directors, good authors in all the documentary ranges, even when we make an investigation. It's not just a reportage about Iraq or Iran or something that's happening now. It's a very good film. And what I always ask for is that the film I co-produce, I would like the producer, the director, and ourselves, we will make a job together so that this film can survive, and this is an important term, survive on the international market at least for 5-6 years. This is important for the independent producers we work with because they can sell the films other times if it's done in such a way that it will survive on the market. If it's a reportage, tomorrow it's dead.
Yeah, that's I think very important aspect for us producers, how we develop the idea to generalize the issue, that it works longer and
yes,
wider.
But sometimes you must say too that the way how we work with a filmmaker and producer is seen to like a kind of big contrainte, comme on dit. We are autoritaire. We must say. We must say. No, but I don't say that in a wrong way, but it means there are channels you get the money and you do your reportage and it's done. By ARTE, it's not working like that. No. It's true, and sometimes it's not easy because we are fighting just because we mean the film could be a little bit more and so on. It's not.
That's why I'll come back to the sessions I mentioned in the editing room, yes, where we consider that we are a team. And there we come with a new eye. We have not been to the shootings. We have not seen anything. We have discussed with you before. But then we start this procedure of really working together. And sometimes I can see a program 10 times. Of course, after the 5th time screening, my eyes are tired, as I said. So what do I do then? I bring a colleague with me who has never seen the program before or the film before. So that we are very keen on that this collaboration procedure, but it really works. That's the way how we are authoritarian. I agree.
But I was working in Germany for a long time, and I work with redactors to film commissioners, and it was very different. For example, I know with the CDF, the commissioning editor would speak with you before the decision. And then when I made a lot of documentary films in Germany. He would come sometimes on the set when you are comment on dit tourner, when you're shooting. He would come and spend the evening with you, and the next day, and being there when you shoot, it's not good at all. You know, when you shoot, you must be alone with your shooting. And then, and the way I work is really big discussion at the beginning, just to know, to make the things as clear as possible in the head of the film director. Because now a film director has to take a decision every second. And if it's clear in his head before, he will take the better decision than the other one. And then after that, in the editing room. And it's true that it's a very, we are very present at this pause.
And should we work together one day, then I would like, either I would come here 1 or 2 times, or I would ask you to come to Paris to screen with me. But I almost never accept to screen on Vimeo, or we have to have a direct discussion, you see.
But I think this is also this good side of co-production, because as you already mentioned, this is not about that you are buying the films. No. You are becoming part of the team. Yes. And this is time you live together with the filmmakers. Exactly. And the last example, I think, is Ilona Bichevska, she made this 15 Young by Young series. And she brought all the directors to Paris, because Serge company, they edited in Paris with French editor. And of course the projects came in different stages. Some people brought very well advanced rough cut. Some brought really not good stories. But at the end it all turned out to be a very good project. And commissioning editor came and was present, and those discussions, I think this is very interesting, very creative part, how you really finalize your product. So it's I think this is value you get for nothing, because that's what prepares you for the next project. Yeah, those discussions. So, but then also the question, you also mentioned series. What works better now? Is it better for them to make a project for short series or longer one-off? What format-wise is working now better?
Another complicated but interesting question. Right now, I'm co-producing an 8-hour series in history about the First World War. 8 hours is quite a lot. This is an international co-production, and we put into this a huge amount of work in the writing, and we will start to film next month. This has been going on for the last 2 years, before we have even shot an image. So you see, it takes a long time. I should not advise you at first to send a proposal of a series. Normally, in history or in other art and culture programs, the series are the ideas of the commissioning editors. So we come up with an idea and we try to see how we can manage this on an internet, because it costs so much that we can't do it ourselves, and we want the level to be high up. So please send 1 hour, 26 minutes programs, or 1 hour series to start with, or 90 minutes films with strong signatures, creative signatures, or La Lucarne. There are other possibilities. Series is a fashion, but I'm slowly but certainly leaving this big series because it's too expensive.
All right,
Ken Burns does it very good. Have you seen Ken Burns' 14 hours on the Second World War? Ken Burns doesn't ring any bells to you? You must see Ken Burns' film. It's an American film director. The best you can find today, almost.
All right, I guess after today you'll get slightly more than 1,600 proposals, because there will be several from Latvia too. Therefore, I thank all the speakers today. Now we have a lunch break, and after that, do you know what will happen after that?
Yeah, I don't think that this will be possible.
All right. Okay.
I am very, very sorry.
Okay, you don't be. The weather is. The weather should be sorry. Mother Nature should be sorry for doing this to us. But thank you all for coming. This is it. I hope everybody has learned something and got an inspiration to do something. And thanks again to Denis, who has left, and French Institute of Latvia, and Vipke, and German Embassy. The closing remarks.
Yes, I would also like to very much thank you all for being here. Claire and Elizabeth, who made it through the storm, and it was a very interesting presentation of both of your works. Odis for all this very interesting input from the Latvian side. Olga for the moderation and interview, because you organized all of it here. But what I would really like to add as well, the French Embassy, the German Embassy, the French Institute, the Goethe Institute, we wanted to bring those people to you in order that this will continue. Yes, we really wanted this to be a start off and not just something where you go out and it's over. So I would like to leave my business cards here. You can take them, and you can address me with any question that you have. If it's not about Germany, and if it's not about any of my subjects that I'm treating, then I will probably just answer, I don't know. But I will get back to you, so please do approach me. And I do think this is also true for all the people that are sitting here. And I would really like to get a feedback, and hopefully some more proposals for ARTE as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining.